Every morning we sing when we come together. So we invite you to rise and body your spirit and let's sing together. Woyaya. Words, of course, as always, will be on the screen. We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know within, and we will get there. Heaven knows how we will get there, but we know we will. It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there.
Good morning. Hey. And good morning to everyone online as well. Welcome to Mount Diablo Unitarian Universalist Church. I'm the Reverend Rodney Lemery, and my pronouns are he and him. You do not need to believe a creed to be comfortable among us, and we do have some values that bind us, and we would love to talk to you more about that if you'd like. You can learn about them on our website at mduuc.org, or if you're visiting with us today in person, we would be glad to share all of that information with you at our visitors table. Please don't forget to fill out a visitor's card. Much appreciation if you would write legibly. I enter those into the system. Or I try to at least. On the first Sunday of every month, we also provide a time after the service for those who have decided that they are willing to take on the commitments of becoming a member in our community and sign our book. So put that on your calendar if that is something that you are interested in. Today, while our lead minister, Reverend Leslie Takahashi, is on sabbatical, we had been thrilled to welcome our guest minister to our pulpit. Unfortunately, as a testament to the times in which we are living, a COVID-positive exposure means that Reverend Aija Simpson will not be joining us today. Instead, we will look forward to sharing the pulpit with her in the near future, and we wish her continued health. There's always a lot going on here, so I just want to highlight a few of the ways that you might be able to engage in this community deeper. We have begun our launch campaign for our volunteer opportunity winter nights, where we host for 2 weeks on this campus various families who are in the Contra Costa Winter Nights Shelter Program. We will be providing that shelter and all of the food for those 2 weeks beginning April 3rd through April 17th. All of the information and the remote training is available on our website under the Justice page. Please sign up there in any way that you would like to contribute. I also wanted to bring your attention to the amazing opportunity and a family-friendly justice event for Sunday, February 26th from 12 to 1 in Borton Hall, where we will be providing lunch and having a brief reflection on what empathy looks like in our justice work. We will be creating hygiene kits that will be used in our new shower program and that we hope to be launching in the next few months. Along those lines, many of you have already started to deliver plain white towels and white washcloths. Very, very grateful to all of you. We are hoping to open up a linen closet for that program as well. These are just a few things that are happening in our community. To find out everything that is happening, please visit mduuc.org and look under the News tab. That's the place where you can register for all of the events and see what is happening, both physically and remotely. Lastly, please contact anyone on our ministerial team if you are in need of a listening ear or financial support, which is available for those who are struggling in these times. Asking is indeed a gift you give. Welcome to this, our beloved community.
Good morning. I'm Andrew Oswald, a member of your Board of Trustees. My pronouns are he and him. Welcome to our service. Mount Diablo Unitarian Universalist Church is a welcoming faith community. We begin our services by reading our mission together. We bring to life our Unitarian Universalist values as we seek truth and work for justice, nurture compassion and courage, reach out to each other and to our larger community of faith, bridge the divisions that wound the family, transform ourselves and our world. This community exists because of the time, talent, and treasure that our members and friends share. Please check out the Just in Time section of our weekly email and our newsletter and the new just-in-time board on campus to connect and contribute. We're so glad to have you with us. Please remember to stay masked and refrain from eating or drinking indoors. While we're no longer checking vaccination statuses, our expectation is that those who are inside are vaccinated and fully boosted and have no symptoms of any of the communicable things going around. Thank you for honoring this commitment to keeping one another safe. A few announcements. First of all, while our lead minister, Reverend Leslie Takahashi, is on sabbatical, we ask you to be considerate of your asks of our ministerial and staff team and be patient if we cannot meet them immediately. And end of year statements for donations have been emailed and mailed to all of you. Thank you for your generosity, and please contact our administrator, Jen Marsh, if you have questions or concerns. And welcome. It's good to be together.
And now, to further our spirit of welcome, I invite you all online to greet one another and here in the room as well.
We invite you to rise again or remain risen in body or spirit for our invocation.
Hello, my name is Mary Schreiber. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm reading a quote from Howard Thurman. Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive and go do that. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive.
All right, I'd like to invite those who are young and young at heart to come forward for our time for all ages. Oh, and I should have said, bring your paper and your coloring utensil with you. And everybody that might, if you need a paper or coloring utensil, we have some in the back with our ushers. So if you didn't get one on your way in, we're going to need one for this activity.
Can I just use my, what's the word? Can I just
Your
use my
brain?
head?
Yes, you can use
Oh,
your
I mean,
head.
can I just use my head?
You can use your head.
I can?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, Cullen.
You're welcome.
Today we are exploring change. Seems appropriate. I had a question, but I feel we're all going to raise our hands. How many of us have had to lean into change this morning? Sometimes it can feel uncomfortable, unsettling. And yet, in that space of change, we can grow. We can grow into something greater, something more beautiful than we were before. And when those winds of change blow, you might find yourself feeling pulled, perhaps swaying, stretching. And yet you can remain firmly rooted in love. I'm going to share a piece with you this morning because change asks us to be vulnerable. It asks us to trust. And I'm going to share what my idea of what change and love look and sound like. And as I'm reading this, the invitation is for you to draw on that piece of paper you have, or write. Do whatever feels right for you. You can either lean into what you are hearing, or go into your heart and bring to life what you see as love and change. Cullen.
For change, can I draw a $100 bill?
Please do. And then put it in the basket during the offering, please.
Oh, yeah, totally. I will.
This piece is called What Does the Earth Know of Love? It begins each day with the rising of the sun. The earth carries this love down each path we choose.
Thank you so much, Ben. Thank you.
When the sun sets and the moon glows amidst the stars, it offers us peace and comfort in the dreams that find us as we sleep. What does the earth know of love? In impermanence, it embraces self-acceptance. It honors the magic that is each season, never rejecting loss, and remaining committed to blooming. In this it says, my promise to you with each new day is to love you for as long as these forests have existed. Like the trees that surround us, I will provide your heart and soul with shelter when the weather is rough, and offer you space to shine your light upon the world. I will nurture your spirit, nourish your soul, and like a gentle breeze whispering amongst the trees, I will remind you every day that I love you. This love lives in us, and I know that it will feed the branches of our lives. Just as the forest is a sanctuary for all that exists within it to grow freely, so too shall I be for you. I know the love and joy we hold as sacred will continue to grow and shall be preserved for eternity. What does the earth know of love? perhaps more than us. With the rising sun of each new day, may we feel the abundance of love within and around us. May we return this love to the earth and offer it to each other without limits. Change is difficult. It moves, but love is constant. I'm seeing some beautiful drawings here. It is my hope this morning that at some point today you will share these drawings with one another. I would love to see them. Feel free to bring them up to me. Or tell me what's in your mind, Cullen. Thanks, Ben. I appreciate this offering. No, I mean, now's good too, but maybe later as well. I most definitely will.
I was also going to do an $100 bill, but I'm sorry, I really want to draw it.
It's okay. I appreciate you, just as you are. I appreciate you leaning into this moment of vulnerability to go into yourself and explore what love and change looks like. And now I invite you to join us in singing the children to their classes.
May your minds be open to new learning. May your lips bring truth into the world. May your hearts know love and your hands do the work of justice as you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace.
Hi, my name is Evan Yunker. My pronouns are he and him, and my life is not how I designed it. I started out, and by the age of about 10, I thought I knew pretty much everything. And for those of you who know me well, you could probably see that this is where the problem actually started. But yes, I knew it all. I could solve all the world's problems, or at least those at my elementary school. Things got a little bit more complicated when I got to high school, but I still thought I knew everything. I was a Southern white male living in a privileged suburban neighborhood in Virginia. I was doing okay until I wasn't. I began adulting. My girlfriend and I broke up. My truck died a tragic death that I could not fix. I moved from Virginia, where I had spent my entire life. I was more than a little bit lost, in over my head. And then I stopped. Like my feet were in cement level of I stopped. Everyone around me seemed to know all the answers to the world's problems, but I didn't. My friends seemed to have everything together in their lives, but I didn't. For once, I couldn't figure out the best course of action when only bad choices were available. So I froze. But that wasn't the right answer either. Now, that reality check that I had in my early 20s was the first of many. The first of many of these, I don't know what the heck I'm doing kind of moments. But now I see them all the time. Some of us may even call them butt-clenching moments. Okay, most of us call them that, but only some of us admit it. But I've come to appreciate these moments as opportunities to learn and grow. I have a system of life experience points. Sometimes if I try something new or challenging or scary or beyond my comfort zone, either personally or publicly, I give myself anywhere between 1 and 96,000 life experience points, all depending on the complexity and fear that I'm facing. Now, I haven't tried to sell these or trade them in, but it's a number in my head and it works for me. By now, I have long since crossed into the gazillions, and I just keep getting more. It's my way of facing those, I'm scared, I don't know what to do, the path isn't clear, this isn't what I expected realities of life. And this system has blessed me. My plan in my youth was to live in Virginia my entire life and get a good government job or a job in politics. But my adventures have allowed me to experience careers and hobbies I never would have, to meet friends and make family along the way, to reinvent myself and learn more about the world I live in, and to have more of an impact than I ever could have if I had waited for the path to be laid before me. I surely wouldn't be speaking to you from Germany if I had waited for everything to be ready before I took action. So as challenges may mount in your life, or whenever you feel scared or worried, or if you ever have that little feeling like you don't want to move, go ahead and try it. Give yourself some life experience points and see where it leads. You got this. Now come, let us worship together.
We invite you to rise in body or spirit. Let's join in singing our opening song, Wake Now My Senses. Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being below. Deep with the web of creation your vow. Giving, receiving as love shows us how. Now my reason reach out to the new. Join with each pilgrim who quests for the truth. Order the beauty and wisdom of time. Thy limit and praise the sublime. Wake now compassion, give heed to the cry. Voices of suffering fill the wide sky. Take us your neighbor, both stranger and friend. Praying and striving their hardship to end. Wake now my conscience, with justice thy guide. Join with all people whose rights are denied. Take not for granted a privileged praise. God embraces the whole human race. Wake now my vision of ministry clear. Guide in my pathway with radiance dear. Mingle my calling with all who you share. Work toward a planet transformed by your care.
This is the time in our service where we uplift the joys found in our hearts and collectively hold the sorrows that are too much for any of us to carry alone. This morning, Linda Russell is lighting 2 candles. The first candle of sorrow as the sister of 2 Michigan State alumni. My heart aches yet again for the violence that took more precious souls and impacted so many more. A second, a candle for President Jimmy Carter. Thank you for showing us how to extend our humanity. This morning, Mary Nail is lighting 2 candles, candle of joy, to celebrate her trip, her 72nd trip around the sun. The second, a candle of sorrow for her brother Dave, who is still fighting cancer and keeping hope. Maura Mattingly is lighting a candle of joy this morning. She says, my daughter passed her nursing qualification exam on her first try. She is now Elizabeth Maura Rodas, RN. Congratulations. Stacy Cranston asks that we light a candle of sorrow this morning. Stacy says, my coworker and friend Jerry passed away. Please say a prayer for his family and coworkers at Manor Care in Rossmore. I'm asking Reverend Rodney to light 2 final candles. The first representing all the joys and sorrows that remain unspoken in our hearts. The second, a gentle reminder that we are the keepers of love and justice makers in this one imperfect but important world.
This is a song in 2 parts. We invite you to sing with us. We're going to sing both parts a couple of times just to get them in our hearts. And then I'm going to invite you to pick one of those and sing it. Whichever one you want. Switch it up, but always make sure it's never the same one that your neighbor's singing. So you hear the 2 songs as they work together. And the sum is always greater. The whole is always greater than the sum of the parts when we do that. Part 1. Return again, return again, return to the home of no soul. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. And part 2. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn. Do that again. Return to who you are, return to what you are, return to where you are, born and reborn. Now, pick one of those. Well, pick one, either one, but make sure it's not the same as your neighbor. Here we go. Return to who you are, return to where you are, return to where you are, born and reborn again. Return to who you are, return to where you are, return to where you are, born and reborn. Now switch. Sing the other one. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul. Return again, return again, return to the home of your soul.
For the Hardest Days by Clint Smith. Some evenings, after days when the world feels like it has poured all of its despair onto me, when I am awash with burdens that rest atop my body like a burlap of jostling shadows, I find a place to watch the sunset. I dig my feet into a soil that has rebirthed itself 1,000,000 times over. I listen to the sound of leaves as they decide whether or not it is time to descend from their branches. It is hard to describe the comfort one feels in sitting with something you trust will always be there, something you can count on to remain, familiar when all else seems awry. How remarkable it is to know that so many have watched the same sunset before you. How the wind can carry pollen and drop it somewhere it has never been. How the leaves have always become the soil that then become the leaves again. How maybe we are not so different from the leaves. How maybe we are also always being reborn to be something more than we once were. How maybe that's what waking up each morning is. A reminder that we are born of the same atoms as every plant and bird and mountain and ocean around us.
Good morning. I am Linda Russell, a member of your Board of Trustees, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. I'm very much looking forward to today's revised message. Can we just give them like a round of applause? They are taking very good care of us, and I know they've had to do a little quick step for today's service, so great to show appreciation. Building the plane while flying is a very timely message for MDUUC for a couple of reasons. Yesterday, I was in the discussion around the changes proposed by the Article 2 Commission, namely looking at how we are maintaining our core values and upgrading them to broaden the language of the central ideas and to bring in new framing, including the lens of the 8th principle. For those of you who are not familiar with the revisions, Reverend Rodney included them in this week's email for people to be able to read the fuller report. I also want to put in a quick plug for people who may be interested in being General Assembly delegates in June, where there'll be a vote to put forth the final revisions for a vote in the 2024 General Assembly of the revisions to the Article 2 bylaws. We have room for 10 folks, and we have 2 so far. So please let any of us on the board or Reverend Leslie know if you'd like to be a delegate. At MDUUC, we have begun our own strategic process, looking at the core values that express our shared vision, recognizing how we have focused on these foundational values over the years, and now want to deepen our commitment through continuing and through new action. And the voices we bring are all of us. Those of us who have been here for a long time, those of us who just arrived, from our elders, our young adults, our youth, and our families. Our collective voices are truly needed to look at who we are as a faith community, how we contribute to the greater world, and what are some of the actionable next steps we need to take. Yesterday in my small group discussion, as we were talking about the new section on equity, which reads, "We covenant to use our time, wisdom, attention, and money to build and sustain fully accessible and inclusive communities." I thought of all the ways that we do that here. Through our monthly Share the Plate, through extending reparations from the board for some to participate in the virtual Beloved Conversations, and the reparations extended through our Social Justice Council, to the Minister's Discretionary Fund, to our pantry, to winter nights. Our contributions, small and large, are opportunities for each of us to build the plane, that which makes us who we are, and to fly it, taking us where we want to go. Please give as generously as you are able. For those of you joining virtually, you can go online and hit the Give Now button. And for those of you who are in the sanctuary, the ushers will now come forward. Now, please join me in the dedication of our offering. To the work of this community in transforming ourselves and our world, we dedicate ourselves and our offerings.
I have to say, I love all of our worship associates, but Evan Yunker just has a way of speaking truth, because those clinching moments are moments that I am very familiar with. And just as I saw my name on the screen behind you, I had one of those moments, because we are at 11, and there's no way I'm going to talk for 30 minutes. My grandfather, who was a Baptist deacon, is probably very upset in his grave about that. 30 minutes of pontification is every Baptist minister's dream. But I will say that the universe has an odd way about it. And today, as I drove in to this beautiful campus to be with an amazing group of people who serve our community well, I received that phone call, and it was one out of caution that COVID had tested positive in a group, and the group had been unmasked the whole day, and they just didn't feel comfortable exposing our community. And I appreciate that deeply. And at that moment, I realized there was no plane. The title of Reverend Aija's sermon was As We Build the Plane, and I'm like, but there's no plane. I don't even have the blueprints for a plane. And then I got here, and I spoke to everyone involved, and a calm came over us. And we realized that change is an inevitable aspect of life. Sam Cooke said, change is going to come, and I think that that is true. We profess ourselves to be a living tradition, one that acknowledges that change is inevitable. And yet, yesterday in the group that Linda spoke about in her offertory, we discovered, through the wisdom of the participants in that group, that there's a tension in that phrase. We call ourselves a living tradition. It's living in that we acknowledge that change is inevitable and we need to be moving forward. We need to be embracing things that will keep our dreams and hopes alive. And then, as Les Polgar put it, there's tradition. And that tradition is something that we value. It's something that we want to be stable enough that we can pass on to future generations. And that tension is real, a living tradition. It was an excellent conversation, and it had aspects to it I never even thought of, that concept of living tradition. I love change. Change is inevitable. I'm pretty comfortable with change in general. In general universe. I'm not welcoming anything else. I'm just saying if it happens, I tend to be able to deal with it. But there is this tension. And so how do we deal with that? How do we reconcile that? And the group really provided a huge amount of wisdom to me in that they all pretty much, in one way or another, insisted that it is in finding our integrity and living into it. So that really means, for me, that we embrace our values of this tradition. Not the words, not the sentences, not even the statements, but rather the values behind there. And if things are in integrity with one another, then we can maintain that it is a valuable change. It is a change that will do what it needs to do. Anchor us in tradition, but yet move us forward. But it's scary and it's uncomfortable. But we hold a value of deep interconnectedness. And that interconnectedness makes us feel responsible for not just ourselves, but other people's well-beings. That means that when we're faced with change, we can't just think about how those changes or our actions will affect ourselves, but we have to. We are called by our values to think about how it will affect not just those closest to us, but those people who may not even be in the room at the time the decision is made. It inspires us to think about a world or a community that we want to change for future generations and how our decisions might shape all of that. In ministry, we have a phrase, liminal space. I'll be honest, I despise that word. It is that, well, that's not true. I despise the feeling around being in that liminal space. It's a space of, for me, discomfort, where I'm unsure. Like Evan said, it's that space that gives you pause, that makes you take a small breath inward and just take a beat. That liminal space, I don't know what to do in that space all the time. And yet, our faith centers love as a common value among everything else we hold. And if I really, really think about it and allow love to be the heart of this faith movement, of my beliefs, those things that I hold important, then maybe love has a way of showing us how to change, showing us that if we root ourselves in those foundations, in that love that is central to our particular faith tradition, we can hold on to who we are, but make space for the emergence of things that are new. I think love is an invitation. It's an invitation to listen to one another in these spaces, to being open to new ideas and perspectives, to accept and acknowledge that we may not have all the answers. And that is a hard thing for many of us to do. Some, me included, have built careers of being an expert in whatever, loving how it feels to be in the room when you speak and are heard and listened to. But that's not the kind of love we're striving for. We're striving for something different. We're striving for a love that allows us to have difficult conversations, to truly hear one another's perspectives and experiences, even if they are in direct opposition to our own lived experiences. I believe that remaining true to that central love value is having the courage to lean in to our calls of action. A faith that, like ours, can't just be something internal. This is great to come together in our ways on Sundays and be with one another, on Saturdays and learning about values and changes that are coming, but that's not enough. Our faith calls us into action. We have to be the love we want to see. And we do, I believe, a great job here at MDUUC in entering into our greater Contra Costa community and helping to serve those in need. It's something that I pride ourselves on, and I hope that we do more of in the future. But it requires us to be vulnerable. It requires us to admit we are not the experts in the room. It requires us to listen to people who are living the issues that we are hoping to address. We are in an ever-changing world, and it's so tempting and so comforting to cling to all those things that are familiar and comfortable, resisting all those changes, deeply wanting to maintain the status quo. It is something that I can appreciate from those who may not share my particular philosophical stent on justice issues in the world. I get it. Comfort is a very enticing drug. But this approach ultimately leads us to stagnation and decay. I think that we should instead embrace the tension that comes in our living tradition, but allow love to guide us as we navigate all those complexities of change. As we embrace change and strive for growth, I really do feel it's important to acknowledge that not all changes are positive. Not all of them may be beneficial to us directly. Some changes have unintended consequences, or, in many cases, may perpetuate systems of harm or oppression. And that's why it's crucial that we listen to the people we are trying to serve. We listen to marginalized voices. We take their experiences and lived realities into account. We have to be willing to examine our own biases and blind spots and to actively work towards dismantling all of those systems of oppression. We are not free until all of us are free. I believe that embracing love and remaining true to all of our UU values really could radically change the world. And this is where I sometimes get into trouble, although I have a friend, I'm looking at her right now, Sue Polgar. I love evangelizing our faith. Our faith has a message of hope, a message of transformation, a radical message of love. I don't think we should keep that under a bushel. Every time I engage in interfaith work, I want and need to be able to tell people about our faith. I want them to understand that our umbrella is one that is large, one that we hope is ever growing. Change is not unique to our community, to this congregation, or even to our association itself. Change is inevitable. Change is gonna come. And if we were willing to tell more people about our faith, we have a blueprint, if you will, to actually help change to come to greater places, greater systems, greater, more diverse networks. I know that change can be difficult. I know that it can be scary, but it is necessary. It's necessary if we want to create a more just and equitable world based in compassion. The choir said today, we have rules that we've made, but we need to break them. And I think that verse, that statement in their song is very profound. We do have rules. Those rules may have served us well, but the rules need to be broken. It's one way that we can represent letting go of the past and making space for us to move into a collective new direction. It is an act that simultaneously honors the rules and the roads that came before us, but also allows us the opportunity to create something new. And I believe we need to do all of this with love as our guide, so that we can be rooted in compassion, kindness, respect for everyone. So my simple question for today has nothing to do with planes. But are you ready to break the rules that we have made?
We invite you to rise and body your spirit. Let's sing our closing song. One more step. or maybe as many steps as it takes. One more step, we will take one more step, and everything will cross, and everyone will take one more step. One more word, we will say one more word, till every word is heard by everyone. Will say one more word, one more prayer. We will say one more prayer, till every prayer is shared by everyone. We'll say one more prayer, one more song. We will sing one more song, till every song is sung by everyone. We'll sing one more song.
As we extinguish the flame of our chalice here, may we take the light into our heart and try and share it with one person this week until we meet again.